Well, hello again, and I want to thank you for the opportunity of letting me come in tonight to your home and wherever you are and just sharing with you. And it's a privilege, and I thank you for it. And today I hope this blesses you. It blessed me as I prepared for it. Well, it's been a busy day for Jesus, and I guess most of his days were quite busy. I was thinking about Jesus, and I thought about an experience that my husband had. Our grandson, Caleb, was just a little boy, and he loved the Lord a lot. And so he was observing his grandpa one day, watching him, and he lingered longer in the store than where Caleb was. So Caleb was watching him. And just so winsomely and so normal and so easy, he was just going on and just talking about the Lord. And Caleb just studied him. When he came out, he said, "Grandpa, how do you do that? How do you win so many people to Jesus?" Well, he said, "Caleb, that's easy. You just keep your line in the water." So I think the perfect example of Jesus was that he always had his line in the water. And I'm glad I was in that water one day, and Jesus met me. Well, Jesus it looked like a popularity contest, because the disciples weren't much different than we. And so they were sort of having a little, they were recognized that Jesus was getting very popular. So they got to talking about it, and the two boys, James and John, they thought about it, and their mother talked about it and said, he won't always be with us, and he'll go up to his own kingdom. They said, "Yeah, I wonder who's going to sit on the right hand and the left hand." And they said, "Well, why don't we find out?" So they went to Jesus and said, "Jesus, when you come to your kingdom, do you mind if one of us sits on one side and one on the other?" And Jesus said, "That isn't mine to give." He said, "That's given to whoever prepared." Huh. I thought about that when I read it. Never noticed it before, but prepared. Who could prepare for such a place? But anyhow, and Jesus said, "I didn't come to be ministered to. I came to minister. I came to minister." And so they kind of got the record straight. And he said, "You know who will be the chief in the kingdom?" No. Well, he said, "It says he that serves." And he said, "I am among you as one that serves." Well, they got the point, and they had to be told many, many times before they caught on, and that was after Pentecost. Well, I want to just share with you tonight that as Jesus was coming out of that little contest that he'd had with his disciples, he's on the Jericho Road. It's one of the main roads, and the people were so happy that they had seen Jesus at work. And the disciples and everybody was just bouncing along so happy in the crowd. Well, on a wayside, sort of not on the main drag, there was a blind man. And he had been sitting there, probably coming there many years. And he was all clustered up in a dirty garment. He had his little cup, and he had probably his little blind stick. And so every day there were a few sort of, I guess, kind of losers, I don't know. But they were sitting around him, and it was kind of a gloomy prospect for him every day. But all of a sudden, as this crowd is coming down the main road, get that? And guess where the blind man is? He's on the side road. So as he listened, he said, "Where's the crowd going?" And they said, "Oh, Jesus. Yeah, Jesus of Nazareth. He's coming this way today. And he's on the road, and oh, there's a big crowd with him." And they kept talking, and so he said, "Take me up there." No, you don't look like it. No, talk like it. You better stay with here. Please take me with you. No, he said, "You stay right here. I don't think you're quite in this class." So they left. And as the more he sat thinking, he thought, "I'm going to call, and I'm going to make a noise." And I made a little outline here. You can see it said the wayside beggar, the questioning beggar, the silenced beggar, the desperate beggar, and finally the screaming beggar. Well, you can tell by that he finally got to a pitch. He was just, finally, he had passed calling, because the crowd was making so much noise. Now, I'm not sure that Jesus didn't hear him, because his ear was tuned to need. His eyes were tuned to need. His heart was tuned to need, the need of sinners. And so he heard this cry, but he didn't respond right away. So this beggar just keeps on crying and yelling and making noise, and finally he got to a pitch. And when he screamed, "Jesus, Jesus, hear me," Jesus stood still. And he said, "Somebody calls me." And they said, "Well, Jesus, we're all calling you. We're all around you." "No, that's a faith call." He said, "Somebody's calling me." And so he said, "Who is it?" And the Bible said that poor blind Bartimaeus, he even cried louder. And so it had pierced the night. And Jesus said, "Go call him and bring him up here." He commanded it so. So they were said, "Well, Bartimaeus, you're in luck today." "Yeah, he's calling for you. I don't know what it's all about, but he wants to see you." So Bartimaeus, the first thing he did? He took his cloak, his old dirty cloak that he'd worn every day. He didn't even know what it looked like, but it had been in the dirt where he had just sat and begged and everything, and it was disgraceful. He threw it away. Now, I'm not sure, but I think he took probably his walking stick, and I even think maybe he took his cup, because Jesus talked about his faith. And so he joined the crowd, grabbed somebody, hung on, and pretty soon he was in the presence of Jesus. And you know what Jesus said? "What would you have me to do?" Now, up till this time, he had called Jesus the Son of David, and then he called him Jesus of Nazareth, and finally he called him Lord. He said, "What do you want me to do for you?" He said, "Lord, that I might receive my sight." There's a real key in this. Jesus wants us to identify our need, even though he may know what it is. It's good for us. It humbles us. It makes us come out in the open and be authentic. And so he was right before the full crowd that were listening, all ears. And when Jesus said, "What do you want me to do?" he said, "Lord, that I might receive my sight." And Jesus said, go. And he said, I will be with you. And he said, it was your faith that made you whole. You know, Jesus, he had a chance to take all the accolades, but he didn't. He turned it right back to the man who had thrown away his garment, who prepared for a miracle, and said, it was your faith. And I said, go. And so he left and he was seeing. But the thing of it is, he followed Jesus in the way. When Jesus does something so permanent for you, you are so thankful that you want to turn and follow him all the way. Jesus himself said, the zeal of thy house has eaten me up. And sometimes I feel like that myself. I just feel like the zeal of his house eats me up. And I do love it. And I thank him because he gives me a perennial peace and joy in my heart. So I'm going to play a song for you, and I hope you enjoy it. And it's one my husband used to sing. And I once sat alone beside the highway begging. His eyes were blind, the light he could not see. He touched his rags and shivered in the shadows. Then Jesus came and set the captive free. When Jesus comes, the tempter's power is broken. When Jesus comes, all tears are wiped away. He takes the blue, he fills the heart with gladness. When Jesus comes, he comes to stay. Bring all your needs to the altar. Bring all your needs to the Lord. He is so willing, so able to help you. Bring all your needs to the Lord. Oh, it's so easy. Yeah. The Bible said Jesus stood still. He waited for him to get up that hill. To come up from the byways, get on the main highway where a beggar could become a believer. And you know, we're all born with this. We're all looking for something to fill that cup. We may have our sight this morning. We may be very blind to the things that will fill a cup. But we were made to be the house of God. He is so willing and so able to help you. Bring all your needs to the cross. Thank you, Ruth and Polston. It's a joy to be with you today and just to talk about the Lord together. Amen.